We're all aware of that special relationship between the UK and the USA. And as you can probably tell from my accent, American TV featured heavily in my childhood. But Donald Trump is not a friend. Many people think that old Uncle Sam will replace everything we might lose from the EU. But let's be clear. Mr. America First has no intention of putting the UK's interests first. He sees trade as, I win, you lose. He'll ensure the UK market is flooded with American beef, which along with wiping out UK farming, would increase the need for border checks in Northern Ireland. Trump has made a promise to the people he needs to vote for him next year that he'll make sure the health system of any future trade partner has to pay more for medicines so that Americans pay less. That obviously includes our NHS, which pays a third of the price for its drugs. Now, a foreign power whose explicit intention is to damage the thing that literally saves lives in this country can only be described as hostile.
What is this peculiar isolationist world you're trying to take us into? I'm afraid, Femi, you're blinded by your hatred of Donald Trump, the person. The United States has been in a special relationship with Britain since Winston Churchill coined the phrase in 1946. We've got huge cultural links, we've got defence links and intelligence links through NATO and the United Nations Security Council. And you know what? We do a lot of flipping business with them. We're one of their biggest export markets, and there is great potential for a new trade deal when we leave the EU, when we eventually leave the wretched EU, that is, which can't come soon enough for me, not for you, of course. And I think you've just got to get over the fact Trump personally affronts you because he's a misogynist, and you probably think he's a racist too. The United States he is the leader of the free world, and we've got to do business with him. And the sooner we get on with it, the better.
I can't believe it. It sounds to me like you're suggesting that that we just don't do business with Trump at all. But I don't understand how any deal we do could be that damaging. Trump would be selling to 66 million British people, and we would be selling to 327 million American people, which, from where I'm sitting, is a win-win situation. And you talk about he's a hostile foreign power because he's America first. It's not a crime for any leader of any country to put his country and his people first, which is exactly why lots of people want to leave the EU, because we want to put Britain first. You know, and I think you'll find that globalization has harmed America hugely, which is why his mantra is America first. More than half the manufacturing jobs in America have been lost because of globalization. See,
neither of you have dealt with the actual point that I made. It's not about his general attitude of America first. It's about the specific intentions that he has in any future trade deal.
How would you know what his specific intentions are?
Because he's said them. He said them on camera to his own people, his electorate. He said he will end what he calls the global freeloading of healthcare. Now, if you think that we'll just say, well, no, don't worry, the NHS will be off the table.
We've said it.
Let's look at it this way. Look at it this way. First of all, in the EU negotiations, how many red lines have we crossed if we laid down the clear red lines? As for what happened, if you want to make a clear comparison, put it this way. The EU and the US, they were trying to negotiate a trade deal. There was a risk that it might lead to privatization of the NHS, so we kicked up a fuss, and we managed to get a joint declaration from the US and the EU that nothing in that agreement could damage our ability to nationalize or renationalize healthcare. So the NHS was protected from privatization under that agreement. Now compare that with now. We are heading down a very dangerous road. You pointed out the fact that there's a larger number of consumers on the American side. That's the essence of trade. You say, do exactly what you say, do exactly what I want, and you'll have access to this massive market that I control. Its size matters in international trade.
Can I just say about your great friends in the European Union, because of their behaviour this week, we've got sanctions being put on a number of British goods, including Scotch whisky, and that is because the EU were judged by the World Trade Organization to have illegally been pouring state aid into Airbus against Boeing. So don't tell me that the EU is the perfect answer, Femi, when this week we've seen British industry, Scotch whisky, being hammered because of the EU. Donald Trump has also said he wants to do a big trade deal with the United Kingdom, but of course you're not willing to believe that.
And he's already our biggest trading partner, already.
And the NHS will suffer.
It's really weird that you're not hearing what the US is actually telling us about the basis on which they will do future trade deals with the UK. Woody Johnson, the US ambassador, has told us in British media interviews that he would expect British healthcare to be on the table, and he would expect food standards to be changed. Now, that is the crucial thing about trade with the US, that it would require a lowering of standards. One of the things that is of most concern to Britain is food standards. It would be hormone-injected beef and chlorinated chicken.
Which is perfectly safe, by the way.
It's not safe.
The EU authority has actually said it's perfectly safe.
That's absolutely absurd. The EU has specifically said that both those things are not
the
safe.
European Food Safety
Let me just finish my point, Carol.
says it's safe.
See, one of the things is Donald Trump's administration, they're in favour of Brexit because it makes us vulnerable. Mike Pence has done a glowing recommendation of Brexit. And a quick warning, this excerpt does include flash photography.
The United States stands without apology for a strong, prosperous, and free United Kingdom. It was my great honor to meet with Prime Minister Johnson at 10 Downing Street. I offered the President's regards, and I assured him that the United States of America supports the United Kingdom's decision to leave the European Union. I believe if we're to ensure that the 21st century witnesses a renaissance of commerce between freedom-loving countries, it'll be the United States and the United Kingdom that lead the way. Our two nations will stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and we will show the world how free and fair trade can promote prosperity and peace across the globe.
It's amazing how that music just does not mean anything.
Excuse me. That shows that he wanted I must have watched some different video from me, because that shows that he wants it to be vulnerable. He talked about how he wants the UK to be strong, prosperous and free. He talked about a renaissance in trade. He talked about the nation standing side by side. That was, respectfully, an utterly erroneous way to bring in that video clip. There's no truth. Where's the vulnerability from there?
We know what the vulnerability is?
Yes.
Name a country in the WTO that doesn't have a single trade deal with anyone.
No,
this is really important. This is really important. Brexit, a no-deal Brexit specifically, means we become the only country in the WTO that doesn't have a trade deal with anyone. That is a level of economic vulnerability that is unseen in the world.
Please respond to my question. Where was the vulnerability in the clip you've just played?
Brexit itself. That's my point.
Brexit itself opens us up to being able to trade with the rest of the world. How are we going to be vulnerable when we can trade with everyone?
We already trade.
Femi is trying to make, which is that if you don't have any trade deals and you're striding out looking for trade deals, it gives the country that's making deals with you leverage over you because you need it more than them. And can I just say, look, it's just common sense that you're going to get the most trade, and everybody who's looked at trade in the world understands this. The countries that do best on trade do it with countries that are nearest to them geographically and have the closest alignment with them in terms of trading standards. That's how it works. It just defies common sense that you think the US is going to provide a Trump better deal, even on those terms alone.
OK, but one of the reasons we do so much trade with the United States, Rachel, is because of a shared language, a shared history and a shared common culture, and I cannot understand, Femi, why you want to chuck that all overboard because of your hatred of Trump.
And my love of the NHS.
Well, the NHS is going to be intact. The NHS is going to be intact.
He's explicitly said that it won't be.
How would you handle the relationship with the United States?
Well, I'd make sure that I had the most leverage possible, and that comes with being part of a market of 500 million people. But that's how I would handle it.
Britain has voted against that.
Well, we haven't voted for a no-deal Brexit. People certainly did not expect a no-deal Brexit.